From 9 on Your Side Sports, Cincinnati's longest-running sports talk show on television. This is Sports of All Sorts with Reggie Wilson.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. It finally happened, and it's a celebration in Cincinnati. Where were you when the Bengals won their first game of the 2019 season? Hope you didn't miss it, but if you did, let's check out how it went down. Orange and black hosting the Jets on a chilly afternoon at PBS. Andy Dalton back as QB1. He did his thing, y'all. He rips one into triple coverage to Tyler Boyd, who holds on for the touchdown. Energy. Andy passes Kenny Anderson as Bengals all-time passing touchdowns leader with 198. It's 7-3. Going for more in the second quarter, throws to a wide-open C.J. Uzomah, and he drops the cookies. Only 11 catches coming into this game, so he's probably surprised it was thrown to him. Bengals have to settle for a field goal, but Andy and the offense comes right back, though. Plan inspires. Smoking Joe runs up the gut for 6. Big dance energy. It's 17-3, the largest lead of the season. And this is how you know it's your day. Ball inside the 5. Darnold completes the pass to Le'Veon Bell, but it's called back for a hold. And since it happened in the end zone, that's a safety. Big energy. Bengals lead 19-6. Randy Bullock adds a field goal, and that's when the defense lets loose. Carlos Dunlap. Energy. Ties a career high with 3 sacks. Defense holds the Jets to 28 yards in the second half. Big Gatorade bath energy for Zach Taylor. He gets the win. Number 1 as head coach. Bengals end the franchise worst 13-game losing streak. 22-6 is the final.
We knew how close we were and how it was going to feel when we got it. And so what a reward for everybody to finally get to feel this and just keep building on it, because it does, you don't talk about it when it's happening, but of course everybody feels that pressure to go make a play and, okay, here we go, it hasn't gone our way, it's not going to go our way. So to finally get that win and do it the way we did it takes that pressure off.
Right now we're just excited to get the win today. We're not comparing to anything else we did in the past or anything that we've done in this season. Right now, we're just enjoying this moment right here.
For it to finally pay off, get our first win of the season, get Zach his first win of his coaching career, all that kind of stuff. It's a big relief.
All right, energy. I got the great Jim Breach with me tonight. Bengals all-time leading scorer in franchise history. Jim, you feeling the energy tonight?
I'll tell you that defense had some energy going.
Oh, yes, they did. So they finally break through, get win number 1 this season. Not going winless. What's your reaction after that game today?
They are not going to be an answer to a trivia question now.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not the Lions, they're not the Browns. They're one of those other teams with just one win, and who knows what they end up with.
I said in my earlier sportscast that they are not married to the Lions and the Browns. They're not making it Three's Company. They're on their own. They're not winless anymore. So what are the players feeling after getting a big win like this? I'm sure it's a big relief. There's like a dark cloud that's been hanging over the team.
Huge relief. As Zach said, nobody wants to go through that. And,
right.
Everybody wants to make a play, and you're doing everything you can, and finally it happens, and it's just like the weight of the world is lifted off your shoulders. If you notice, the teams that finally broke through, like Miami now has got 3 wins.
Yeah.
Washington's up to 3 wins.
Yeah.
The Jets are at 4. Mm-hmm. So those teams that took a long time to win, they've actually started to win a few games.
You got to watch out for the Giants, though. They're not winning. They haven't won in a while, so.
They're struggling. Well, they won a few early. That's right. That was the problem.
Yeah. So win number 1 for Zach. He's gone through this whole offseason, 12 games. He's hearing it from all sides. How does he feel finally getting win number 1 as head coach?
Well, he feels relief too. I think you put a new program, a new system into place, and obviously some doubt may creep in at times. You got this whole coaching staff. Everybody's kind of doubting themselves, even though what the effort they're putting forth. The players' effort is great.
And Zach's been super positive.
And it finally paid off. Because, really, look at it, they've played really well and in tight games, but haven't been able to win them today. They handled the Jets really well.
So Andy, back as the starter today, and he played inspired. It was 22 of 37, 243 yards, a touchdown, no turnovers. He also becomes the all-time passing touchdown leader and completions leader. What did you like from Andy today?
I think it felt like the offense had a chance to succeed, whereas I didn't feel like that the last 3 weeks. He protected the ball really well. And like you said, there was a lot of energy. I think guys were fired up to have him out there. And even the first throw of the game right down the middle to Boyd is a little high. I think that's Andy being a little amped up, really.
Yeah, he was.
But overall, I think they felt like their leader was back.
Yeah.
And I think everybody played inspired.
And so Dunlap after the game said he felt like they poked the bear when they sat Andy on his birthday. And now he comes back and he responds with a performance like this. What do you think of how Andy kind of composed himself even after getting benched and then coming back to play as inspired as he did?
Well, I think that's a pro. Yeah. You know, I've seen it happen before. I saw it happen with Kenny Anderson here, where he went back into games later on and played really well. That's what a pro does.
Right.
And you know, Andy knows that if he's not starting here next year, he has a good chance to start somewhere. So but that's what the guys do. If you pout and get all down on yourself, when the opportunity comes along again, you might not be prepared. So he obviously was prepared.
So what does this do for Andy? What do you think his goal is as the remainder of the season plays out? Is this like an audition that he's trying to put on tape for other teams, or how do you see this playing out for him?
I don't think he thinks of it like that. You just go play.
Right.
The whole idea is to win the games, and so everybody's going to play to win the games. He's going to put the best effort forth. You know, depending on if the Bengals want to re-sign him, Chase Young might be sitting there. If they choose to go in a different direction, it's an audition for other teams. So in either case, whether it be Andy or anybody else who's playing the game, you want to play well enough that either to get a new contract if it's up, or if somebody else is interested in you, you have an opportunity to play somewhere else. But so you have a lot of incentive to go out and play well.
All right. Turning to the other side of the ball, defense balled out today. It felt good, I think, for them, probably because they've been playing hard these last several weeks, and they haven't had the wins to show for it. The offense hasn't had the production to match their production, but they had 4 sacks today. Carlos Dunlap had 3 of those. What did you think of the defense that you saw out there today, pretty much shutting the Jets down?
They were awesome. You know, Darnold, 4 sacks. They had a 5th with Sean Williams, but he got taken away because Zach took the penalty on a hold. They had a hold in the end zone for a safety. If you put pressure on the quarterback, it makes every quarterback's life miserable, from Tom Brady on down, and his day was miserable today. He struggled.
And you didn't see the pass rush much this season, but today was kind of like a flashback from the Bengals of maybe the last couple years.
I think the last few weeks, the pass rush has actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
In the middle of the year, though, I don't know where it went, but all of a sudden it's picked up again, and it translates into keeping scores down, and it's worked out. You know, really, if the offense had been playing very well, they could have actually won the last 3 games.
Yeah, that's true. So with how the team is playing, you know, all right, we can't just be super positive, I guess. They did leave some plays out there on the field. A couple drop tight.
Come on, Reg, come on.
It's just giving a full scope. But,
Yeah.
you know, they did have a couple drop tight end passes in the end zone today. Are those things that just kind of make you mad about seeing that, because it's like that could have been that much better of a performance today if they hadn't done that?
Yeah, certainly, that could be. But the way I look at it is when that's happened earlier this year, they could never overcome it.
Right.
You think about it, every time something like that happened, they end up losing the game, and you look back and think, oh, man, if that ball's caught. Well, today they weren't caught, and yet they still won by 16.
Right.
So I think today, because of the defensive, you know, the way the defense played, they were able to overcome whatever issues there were.
All right, so.
Let me give a shout out to Kevin Huber and the special teams.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. The Jets seemed like they were playing from down by their 10-yard line the whole game.
Yeah, every week from him, he's just a consistent pro.
He's great.
Yeah.
He does a great job.
All right, so is there a concern maybe that now that this win has happened, that it might snowball into some other wins and maybe affect their draft positioning a little bit?
If you're asking me, or are you asking from a player perspective? From a player perspective,
you just want to win.
They don't care.
Right.
From the fans' perspective, we're worried.
Yeah.
Right? If it snowballs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get the number 2 pick, and the Giants end up at number 1, who don't need a quarterback, but then they have a bidding war to see who wants the first pick. And
Right.
if Joe Burrow were your choice, if that's the direction you decide to go. So I guess that's always the issue, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So the Browns coming up next. They go on the road to Cleveland to play the Browns, who didn't look very good today. They lost to the Steelers. Is that maybe another opportunity for a win?
There's always an opportunity for a win. I think New England's going to be really tough, obviously.
For sure.
But give me a game this year where they didn't have Baltimore, the second Baltimore, San Francisco, those games. But for the most part, even as poorly as they've played on offense, they've had chances.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I say they probably have a chance. And it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
They'll just play out differently.
All right. We'll see what happens, Jim. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Reg.
All right.
Hey, congratulations on your first win as doing the show, and the Bengals finally pull one out.
Finally. Up next, we're talking UC Hoops with Terry Nelson. We'll be right back. Let's go back to last night. UC hosting UNLV, trailed by 9 at the half, but here comes the comeback. On the break, Keith Williams with the putback dunk, 2 of his 14. Bearcats lead by 1 a little later. Jaron Cumberland, splash from 3. Team high 20 points. UC led by as much as 10, but the Rebels come back to tie it up with this 3 as time is running out to send the game to OT, and that's where the Bearcats take control. Chris Vogt with the 2-hand jam, 14 points for the big man. Cumberland goes 12 of 17 from the free throw line. He and Cuz ice it down the stretch. UC holds on to win 72-65.
Our defense was outstanding. All week we challenged our guys. We were giving up 1.07 points per possession, which is the equivalent of about 85 points a game in the second halves. We really challenged it this week. We flipped our practice plan, started doing defense second part of practice. The guys stepped up in the big time in terms of defensively.
How do you like that from analytics from Coach Brandon? You just saw this man interviewing Coach, UC color analyst Terry Nelson, who was also a member of the 92 Final Four team and 2015 Greater Cincinnati Basketball Hall of Fame inductee. Terry, how you doing?
I'm still sleepy from all the turkey and stuff we ate, though.
Hey, I'm still recovering myself, but it's all
right.
good. It's all good. So, all right, so slow start last night.
Yeah.
Then they get the lead and they squander it to go to OT. What's going on with this team this year?
Well, it's an early sample size, but what you're seeing right now is just mixing, matching lineups, how they're going to play, who they're going to play in certain stretches. This team is new to playing man-to-man full time. So when you get tired, normally during the course of a game, you can go zone and rest your guys, and somehow, because you always have the shot clock as another defender that's coming your way. But when you're playing man-to-man the entire time, there's no time to rest. When you're coming down from man-to-man, guarding your guy up and down for 30 seconds, and then have to go down there and cut and move the entire time. So it's a totally different frame of mind, a different skill set that you have to take on. And so the guys are just now learning and still getting better at it, and they're just trying to figure out the depth issue.
All right, so Keith Williams.
Yes.
He was a spark plug. In that second half, he sparked the run, was the reason why they took the lead. What do you define his role as being on this team? Is he the second option to Cumberland's first? Yeah,
he's definitely the second option. And he's a guy, he's your number one primary on-the-ball defender. So he is powerful at 6'5". He can jump out of the gym. He increased his jump shot, increased his range, his ball handling, his ability to go to the hole and make tough shots, floaters, spins in the paint. So offensively, he's going to continue to press the issue to try to get better and try to increase his role. But defensively, what he is already, he's a lockdown defender. He blocked a couple jump shots at the end of the shot clock yesterday. He's a guy that's totally locked in and can change the game.
So Jaron Cumberland has already been benched this year.
Yeah.
And Coach Brandon, I don't really know what that relationship is like. It's kind of weird, but last night he went 3 for 12 from the field. The free throws really was his saving grace in his team high 20 points. What's going on with him? Why can't he get it going?
Well, part of his game, a big part of his game is free throw line. As far as the shooting percentage, field goal percentage, that will get better as his conditioning gets on, as he continues to master this offense.
You've been saying that.
Yeah, once they come across, they get the ball in the wing, and it's a big to come up set the screen. Well, the big and the guard have to start going shoulder to shoulder to create space, because once he comes off that create space, the defender's on his back. Now he has the advantage because as he continues to attack the big that's in front of him, he has a lob opportunity for Chris Vogt at the basket, or if he backs backs up, he has a floater opportunity. So he has, if they just come off that screen and they're not really they're just interchanging, nothing really happens. So you're just going back and forth doing sit figure eights, and you're getting yourself tired.
Right.
But one thing he can do is he knows how to master getting to the free throw line. So doesn't seem like much. Yes, he had 20 points, but 17 free throw attempts, you're putting foul trouble on them, you're putting your team in the penalty, which is helping your team, and then you're getting a chance to rest so you can play full court defense again. So I like the free throw attempts. You'll see his field goal percentage go up as the season goes on.
All right, well, you heard it from him. So we got the Crosstown Showdown coming up on Saturday. X is playing well. The defense was kind of their calling card to start the season, but the offense is picking it up as of late as well. So I know you haven't done a deep dive into Xavier just yet, but what have you seen from them that maybe the Bearcats should be worried about?
Physical, tough rebounding. It's a physical, tough rebounding team, and that's one thing that's been giving us trouble, the Bearcats trouble early on, is just identifying assignments on the blockouts. We have guys that are physical, we have guys that are quick, but we haven't always had the focus enough to when the shot goes up to turn and box out first, do everything first before you go get the rebound. And Xavier, one of the things they're so good with Tyreek Jones, Najee Marshall, they go after it. I mean, they're big, they're aggressive, they're physical, and that's where they get their bread and butter. I mean, that's what they eat.
Right.
So when you see that shot goes up, guys are not looking at the ball. They're looking for guys to hit, to make space.
Yeah.
So that ball, a lot of those times that when Najee Marshall and Tyreek get rebounds, the ball falls in there. One arm out holding it, the ball falls in their lap because they've done the pre-work early. And that's what scares me, is because they're physical down low, and we have to have an answer for that.
So you mentioned Najee. It kind of turns into him and Jaren head-to-head. Who do you see getting the best of this matchup? Is that maybe something that causes Jaren to kind of rise to the occasion more so than he's done this season?
Well, Jaren has always had great games against Xavier. Coming as a freshman when, he had a big game at UC and they won that game, then they go over and they play at Xavier 2 years ago. He didn't have quite the great game that he wanted to have. Then he come back last year. He led the team with 19 points and got the victory last year. It's one of those things where, growing up in Wilmington, he knows about the rivalry. He's been living for this rivalry. And he's a guy in a game like Xavier, in this crosstown shootout, there's going to be some trash talking. And it's going to be at Xavier. And the fans are going to be involved. And so Jaren is one of those things where he rises for the occasion. If the whistles are equal, you're going to get some more for Xavier, and that's totally expected. But if the whistles are equal and the people are not necessarily in deep foul trouble, because that got us in trouble last year or 2 years ago when we played there. Kyle Washington got in foul trouble early. Gary Clark got in foul trouble. If we can stay out of foul trouble early and the game continues to get a pace that's frenetic going back and forth, Jaren will make a difference. Scruggs and they were only, the only two players last year in double figures. So they have to continue to attack. Xavier is going to be pumped out of their brain coming up at home. But UC, they have to get past Vermont. And then once they get past Vermont on Tuesday, then they can give all their focus on Wednesday towards this crosstown shootout.
And no game has shown to be easy for UC, so
no.
We don't want to overlook Vermont, but we are excited for that crosstown showdown. It'll be my first, so I'm excited to see it happen. Terry, thanks a lot for taking the time. We all are smarter because of your visit today.
I appreciate you, brother. And then we're going to get you to the crosstown shootout.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. That's Terry Nelson. We'll be right back talking Bengals. Got that win today. We're talking more coming up.
This is what happens when you get a win?
Yeah.
AD gets 2 records. Woo! Can't think of a more deserving guy. I'm going to get out of here because they don't want to hear from me. But, hey, love you guys.
Hey, love you too.
It's good to be dog. Yes, sir. Yes,
Get that
sir.
monkey off our back. Let's go get another one.
Exactly. And that's how I feel.
All right, thank y'all.
Where you going?
You got it. It's all you, man.
I love it. Word of the day, energy. Bengals showed plenty with their first win since Marvin Lewis was head coach. Where were you when it happened? Keenan Singleton in the place to be, and he has more reaction from win number 1.
Andy got the records. Carlos got his sacks. And Zach got his first win. The thing that got the Jets? Location, location, location. The Bengals offense and defense put together their best combined effort of the season today, but it was the third unit, the special teams, that made all the difference in the Bengals' first win of the season. 5 of the Jets' possessions today began inside their own 15-yard line. New York was only able to score 3 points on those drives.
I don't know what the stats look like, but it felt like a complete game from all of our guys. Really, in all three phases, I thought they did a good job, controlling the game.
On the flip side, the Bengals' average starting position was the 36, a welcome sight for returning starter Andy Dalton.
Go through what he just went through, get sat down on your birthday, get sat down after you, sacrifice so much for this organization. To come back in and play the way that he played just speaks to his character. I can't think of a more deserving guy than those records. Continue to build on that and continue to be great, because when he plays great, we play great, and we're a team.
And the good vibes will extend from the locker room up to the front office, as both the Redskins and the Miami Dolphins both won today, leaving the New York Giants as the only team within a game of the Bengals for the top overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Reporting here at Paul Brown Stadium, Keenan Singleton, 9 on your side.
All right, thanks, Keenan. Fans will be keeping their fingers crossed that the Giants win something, and the Bengals, maybe they win, maybe they don't. We'll be right back to wrap up the show. Well, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, but we got to go. Thanks to Jim Breach and Terry Nelson for joining me tonight. Have a good night and a blessed week.